Hey guys, this is Prac with iRepairMD. Today we have a Mavic Mini Pro that's involved in a crash, and the pilot informed me that prior to that he had issues with this motor right here, and he said that it's really hot, and when I'm spinning I can feel like it's loose. So the more I look into it, the more I realize that this mount right here off this has broken off. So we would need to replace not only, we're doing a special replacement today. We're gonna do just the shell and motor replacement. So we have this piece and a new motor, okay? And what we need to do is we're gonna try to salvage everything else, like the radio antenna, the lights, the screws, and the tape. And also we're gonna salvage the pivot arm. So with this repair, we're gonna do just the motor and front shell or top shell replacement of a Mavic, DJI Mini 3 Pro. Stay tuned. Okay, so for this repair, you would need a solder pen. This is my solder pen from Pine, and new solder tip. Also, we'll be using this toolkit here. This is my new toolkit that you can get from our website. This will have everything we need for the repair, okay? So let's go ahead. With this said, let's begin the repair. First thing we do, like always, pull out the battery, okay? We're gonna put this aside, and let's go ahead, and we will need the screws on here, okay? We'll need a Phillip first for the two bottom one. So I'm gonna use a Phillip tool right here, and then let's go ahead and take out the Phillip screw. Okay. I have a magnet that I like to put all the screws on. All right, so we have two Phillips, small Phillips in the back. That is helping hold the top shell out. This repair, we will need to open both. Okay, so turn this over. All right, now let's go ahead. And we will need to get to the other bottom of the shell. So again, and bottom here, there's another Phillips holding the top screw in. So let's go ahead. Top shell is held by two black Phillips. Okay, that's the other one here. Let's go ahead. Under the gimbal, there's another one right underneath. You can see at an angle, hopefully you can see it. Try to get you the best view, but I can't always guarantee that you're gonna able to see it. So I'm taking the screw off here. Magnetic tip is really helpful. All right, so now I have the top shell off. Now I'm gonna use a pry tool, close here, to go ahead and safely and carefully remove the really brittle top shell. First thing we're gonna do, let's go ahead and push it, free it from the snaps. There we go. I'm gonna bend it over right here. Again, very little pressure. Okay. And again, just move the snaps carefully. Now go to the other side, do the same thing. It's just carefully free the snap. All right. Okay. Be very careful. This is like extremely thin and brittle. Okay. Got that off. You see what I'm doing? I'm prying it off, moving it very carefully. Also giving you guys the best point of view that I can on how I do it. I'm using my nails. Using a pry tool could be dangerous as it could leave a mark into the plastic. So the nail that I have, my nail chitin or enamel, is perfect to feel. Okay, so this is done. Top shell is off. Okay, so what we need to do now is to access the bottom also. Okay, that's where the ESC is. So here we will use a T4 screw. All right, put this fillet back in here and switch over to the T4. Now open this. Okay. Here we go. All right. Okay. And now let's go ahead. Once that is done, I will actually use a thin razor to free this. So we want to free it from the snaps. Okay. Be very careful. Just enough to free it. I'm gonna close this out. Now I'm opening to free the bottom shell. We would have to carefully. Okay. Let me put this in for now. Bend it over. So we have to free the shell here. Best way, again, is to get in the seam. Got the seam right here. Okay. And just lift the seam carefully. Add enough pressure that I need. So just go ahead, push in and lift the seam. Okay. Sometimes it can be tricky. If you can't do this yourself, just send it to us. We'll take care of it. So I'm using my razor here. Okay, once I get to the point where I can actually safely put in my metal pry tool, I'll go ahead and do so. Okay, there we go. Once we get it up, get this much off, then we can just safely, carefully, just move around and then detach it, snap off here fairly carefully. Okay. A little bit of a snap at a time. Okay. Now go ahead, pull this off. Okay, and this tape here is the sink tape. That's okay. Let's go ahead and put the sink tape back onto this piece later. All right. So now let's go ahead and remove the obstacle avoidance, bottom obstacle avoidance sensor. You have to remove that part. Give you a better view. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you get you guys a good view. Okay. With that, these are non-magnetic aluminum screws. All right. I'll remove these. That will give us access to the speed controller. Okay. Tap that off. So now I got all this out. Okay. Get access to a tweezer. Okay, so now we have this exposed. All right. So what we need to do is go ahead and actually lift these right here. Some more screws. That's in the way. Access to this cage right here. That is the bottom bracket. Got some more to take off. Okay. All right, to be safe, we just want to remove this out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lift this off. There's a little hot glue that's holding it together. Let's put this out of side. Let's protect these. Okay, we got one more T-screws here. Okay. Remove that. Let's go ahead. Remove this. Now what we need access to, because what we're replacing is this arm right here. And we also will be using the antenna. All right, we'll be reusing the antenna. So we're gonna keep the antenna plugged into here. All we're trying to do is free this light cable right here. Okay, this is the light. This is the cable that runs through it. We're replacing on this side. You see where the broken part is. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the lights, the front light off the leg. So this is the piece right here. Okay, I'm gonna free that up. And then what we're gonna do, see these right here? All we need to do is just go ahead and cut these, because we'll be soldering these back on. And when you cut these, you don't want to cut it at the end. You want to get as close to the base as possible, so that way you have no issue with the speed controller, because these things are pretty much fine-tuned. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut. I actually want about, say, this much here. Okay, that's how much we want cut off right here. Okay, and now you can see what we want now is to rescue this leg right here, okay, from the arm. And as you can see, this is the antenna. Okay, we want to keep that. All right, so what we want to do is we want to carefully, let's go ahead and actually take this off too, the pivot. We're going to remove the pivot for now, the bottom pivot. Okay, let me see if I can just take the screw off, tap it. Okay, a little bit more. We need to access the wires. Okay, so let's pivot here. Now let's go ahead and turn to the other side. Need to remove this side too. Take that off. Okay. Now I'm lifting it. All these screws in place. Okay, now let's go ahead and free this arm. Okay, and notice what we're rescuing. Okay, what we're rescuing, what we want to rescue, we want to save this, and we want to save the light. We also want, what we also want is to save the antenna. So this orange antenna is wrapped around here. So to access it, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead with a razor, score this. I'm gonna slice this open carefully, not to cut myself. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead. These are really thin arms, so I should be able to peel it after I score it. Peel it along the edge, you can see. And this is the antenna right here. This is the antenna that we wanna reuse, okay? This is a more affordable repair where you don't have to buy a whole arm, you just have to buy the shell, okay? And the motor. So what I'm trying to rescue right now is this antenna. This is the Mavic 3 Pro, the Mini 3 Pro has the antenna located inside the arm and not at the bottom like the other drone. Okay. So we have this. Opening it up. Okay. Get to a point we can safely remove this. I'm going to cut more into it. Okay, I don't want to cut into the wires that gives to the light, that feeds the light. I just want to be careful. So this is a 3 cable. You can see I'm trying to save. Okay, so we have the antenna safe, and now we have this light cable right here. That powers the light. So let's go ahead and work our way. What we want to do, we're going to replace this motor, because this is, like I said, this motor is a bad motor. It came off, so it's no longer useful. So we're just replacing this arm right here. So let's go ahead and cut this free. Open it up, discard all the other plastic. Okay. And then we're gonna free this from all right. Now that we got that free, we want to remove this motor because we want to free the light. So let's go ahead. Carefully. This is an adhesive or sticky disc that covers the actual screws to the arm. Okay. We'll put it right here. We're going to use it again. We'll reuse this again. Okay. My OG right here. Because they really put adhesive on this. They have an adhesive on this. All right, so that's that screw right there, screw head. Okay, so now, okay, so sometimes we don't, I mean, we're not using this again. So this one seemed to be jammed. So I'm gonna go ahead again. I'm trying to rescue this wire, the antenna wire, without having to damage it. So I'm just gonna cut around it right here. Okay. Free this off. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Okay. All right, so now, since we're not reusing this motor because it's completely bad, we can go and rescue this piece right here, freeing the cable from here. Now let's go ahead. It's a piece of plastic located right here. I'm gonna go ahead and please remove the plastic cover. Okay. Now we can safely pull all this cable through, minus the antenna, because we are saving it nearby. Let's go ahead and pull the rest of the cable through. There we go. There we go. That's off. Okay. And then we're gonna go carefully negotiate this cable. this 3 cable right here we have. We're going to pull it through all of this tension. Okay, just right underneath here. Okay, I see it. There's a little jam right here. So what I need to do, so I'm going to pull it in this way. Okay, and just going to free the connector from it. So you have this connector right here. That's the light. And then on the other side of here is the connector. And you can see this connector right here. See, we're trying to free that. Let's go ahead and pull the connector out. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and rescue that connector. The only way to do that is to properly insert it in here. We have to free this tape. So there's a tape holding it together. So I'm freeing that. Okay. You might have to cut a little bit. The shrink wrap. Okay. There we go. Let's free the shrink wrap out. So I'm gonna slice the shrink wrap carefully and not to damage any of the cable. See right here? We need to free this cable off. Slice in the shrink wrap. That should free it. There we go. And we have more shrink wrap to put it in. Okay, so now what we have is the component that we need, okay, for this repair. We have additional screws. Now what we can do is take this arm here that we have, replacement arm, go ahead and slide this back in. And that is the light. Set it back into here, push it all the way through to make it through. So let's go ahead and do that part. You saw it right there. Okay, pull that through. We'll go ahead and align. We will go ahead and align the lights. Make sure the lights are facing the right direction, which they are right now. Let's go ahead and put this back on. Okay, we'll go ahead and put the light cover back on. And then the new motor we have here, we'll go ahead and insert it in. Okay, like so. Turn it over. Okay, so now we have to replace the screw with a Phillip. Put this back in, make sure they're aligned properly. And when I align this motor right here, I want to make sure it's resting properly and it's not clipping the LED cable, which is not. Let's go ahead. Once I get one in, I should be able to be okay with the rest. There we go, secure. Okay, another one. Okay, there are 3 cables in. Go ahead. Okay, 3 Phillips. Let's go ahead and put the sticker back on to this. Okay, and that covers it. There we go. Now let's go ahead And we're gonna have to work all this back in, okay? So what we want to do first is work these cables back in. I'm gonna bundle them. Okay, they have to slide through the arm. Right over here, follow this lead. Let's go ahead and insert it and run it in. Okay, once we get that through, there we go. Now we're waiting for the LED light wires to go through. All right. LED light sometimes need a little coaxing because it's springy. It's a bundle cable. It's a little springy. There we go. We pull this through. Okay, once we pull it through, we'll go ahead and insert the antenna back in to here. The antenna clips onto this property right here. On this side right here. Okay. Once I push it in, carefully push it in. Let's go ahead. Make sure the antennas rest deep inside. Seat it properly. Okay, and I have the LED cable with me. Let's go ahead and insert this back into the sleeve. We'll put the adhesive later, but we want to make sure that everything is secure. Okay, we have everything pulled. There you go. Let's verify. We got the 3 red, white, and black. The antenna here, and this is the LED. Now go ahead, and we're gonna go ahead and seat it back into here using a tweezer. Okay. I'm gonna put the one cable at a time technique. One type of cable at a time, that is. Okay. I'm running it right through here, pushing it in. I'm running it up here. Okay, now my tweezer, we're pulling it back into here. The tricky is this one, because it's springy. Have a tendency to want to bounce back to where it came out of. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab. There we go. We got that cable. And while I have it, I'm just going to go ahead and just insert it into the slot so it doesn't come loose again. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and insert it to a slot, seat it back into the spot. Right here. Okay, we're seated properly. This cable seated, trying to give you guys the best angle. Okay, seated the way we took it out, which is white on the inside. Okay, well, that's properly seated. Let's go ahead and start heating up our solder. Okay, so go ahead and put the solder pin on, plug it in, and then let's go ahead and we need it to be 800 degrees. All right, so now we're gonna get some heat shrink. We're gonna cut this heat shrink into 3 parts for each cable. 3 equal parts, preferably. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now with this, we'll go ahead and insert this in. Okay. Set the sleeves in. So now we have this to the right temperature that we want. I will introduce some solder into here, this tip, to pretend it. So we build a good connection. There we go. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead. What we need to do now is insert these cables inside here. Okay. Let's go ahead and insert the cable in. Actually, we'll take this out first and then we'll insert the cable in, then we'll go ahead and put the sleeve on. Okay. Bundling these together, turning it. Now I'm running it in underneath the arm. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. Turn it over. So there's an opening right here. Set it underneath the pivot. Right over here. Okay, push it in. Should be able to pull on the other side each cable, white, red, and black. All should come in together. Okay. Black cable is coming. All right, so now we have white, red, and black. The cable is in. Let's go ahead and push this in, and now the joints here. Let's go ahead and push the arm into the pivot joint. Okay. Let's get it seated properly. There we go. Okay, so now the arm is seated. Okay, now concentrating on this area, we have this already tended. Let's go ahead and put the heat shrink socks in for now. Okay, and that will insulate the joint solder that we're gonna make. Okay, so these, just go ahead and free these cables that was embedded or was already in here. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this off. So this is hot glue. The original cable is hot glue onto here. Okay, free those, and now the rest is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you. We're gonna go ahead and expose the solder. Okay, do one cable at a time. Put a white cable first, right here. There we go. Black cable. Okay. Cable exposed. Cable. Right, cable's exposed. Now the red. Okay, all these are exposed now. What I want to do, let's go ahead and tend these. Put this socks back in. All right, so these are definitely a little longer than we need it to be, and that's okay. Because what we want to do is go ahead and apply solder to these to make sure all the wires are not fray. Okay, now we have that, we can go ahead and cut a little bit off of each. The white, okay, black, okay, red. All right, so now let's go ahead and connect these joints. First thing I'm gonna do red first. You can do it in any order, but for this demonstration, I'm gonna do red because it's closest. Why not? Here we go. Connect these joints, go ahead and solder them. Now you have a perfect joint. See? Now let's go ahead. The sleeve. Just roll the sleeve over. Okay. Actually, let's go ahead and connect it a little more. It's actually a little loose. Let's go ahead and make sure it's actually stuck this time. All right, that is a strong joint there. Okay, make sure there's no spurs. There we go. Now let's go ahead, bring the socks in, the heat shrink socks. Over to here. All right, set it in, around. There we go. That's one. Let's do white now. Okay. The white joint. Make sure it's all connected properly. Hold it in place. Testing. Yep, perfect. Let's go ahead. Pull the white. Heat shrink socks over the white cable. Okay. White cable coming in. Okay. All right, so the socks is over it. All right. Now we got the black cable left, which is this cable right here. All right, pull the white out of the way. That's to expose the black. Okay. That's the last one. Last cable we have. Okay, make sure everything is stuck on well. Okay, make sure there's no fray or spur. Okay, let's go ahead and redo that again real quick. Go ahead and do this real quick. Okay, so now that's done. Let's go ahead, bring the red, the black in. Heat shrink. There we go. All right, so now we have this done. Let's go ahead and actually apply heat shrink to close it. I'm gonna do this white one first because it's slipping. You see the white slipping a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap the heat shrink. Tap the hot iron onto the heat shrink. Okay. That should shrink the tubing to insulate the wires. There we go. Now that is secure. Let's go ahead and do the black one now. Heat shrink this. Be very careful not to get the plastic up the frame. If you do, it's going to be hard to put it back, the shell back on. All right, black's done. Now I got to do red. right. Okay, now all of it's done. With that done, let's go ahead and push all these back in to where they were before. Okay. So now this is done. Everything's back in. Let's go ahead and put the bracket back on. Okay. So now we gotta make sure that these brackets are secure and in place, and these wires are not obstructing the proper application of the bracket. There we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and put this first for the bracket. Go ahead and apply this connection right here, on, back on here. Okay. So this is the obstacle avoidance, the bottom one. Once it snap in, right here, go ahead and apply this piece right here. This is not heat activated, so what we need to do is actually use a UV adhesive or UV resin, where I'm gonna go ahead and put a little drop of resin in. Okay, and I will use a UV pen, laser, a UV laser. All right, so I got my drop right here. Just a little bit. I don't need a lot. I just need a teeny bit. I'm gonna use a little piece of plastic right here. Okay, just a little drop of this UV laser resin. So I'm right tipping onto here. All right, now I'm gonna use the UV laser to cure it. So this blue laser will cure this resin and harden it, and that will actually perform better than a hot glue. I think that's what DJI used originally also. So we're gonna hold it for about 30 seconds. Again, I will make this also available sometime on my website, the resin, the UV resin and the pen. Okay. If you decided to use this technique, I do recommend it. It's the most cost-effective and the most robust repair. Okay. Now you can see this is hard now. Let's go ahead and put the bracket back on. Okay. So the original mounting bracket should be onto here. All right. I'll apply it in, making sure it's not crimping anything. All right, let's go ahead and put that back into place. Okay. And these are the T screws. All right. T4. Let's go ahead and put them in. All right. Once we get this to locate properly, we'll go ahead and screw it in like we do here. Okay. Put all of these T-screws back into place. one down here, and then we have another one, and then we put this, and then we will put the obstacle avoidance sensor and its board on to this bracket. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Put the obstacle avoidance back on to its bracket. Make sure it's secure properly and it matches its spacing. Okay. And there we go. So this repair is difficult, but if you take your time and break it down methodically, and you need to reference this video and go about your repair just with little rushing, and you should be able to do this repair. If not, we do offer a service, and just click on the link below. You can buy the parts for this repair, or you can request us to repair it for you. The turnaround time is usually 1 to 2 weeks, depending on whether we can get the part or not, or how long it would take to get the part. Okay, now this is done. Let's go ahead and put the bottom shell back on. Okay, the bottom shell back on, and carefully we will apply the covers. All right, make sure the clamps are good. Okay, and there we go. On this side, again, just make sure all the plastics clamps are good. You have a little spur right here. If that's the case, you can just go ahead and just carefully use a pry tool just to get the spur in, like that. Then apply the clamp. So now you have a perfect clamp onto the shell. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and put the covers back onto the bottom shell back on. Okay, with the shell. Okay, there we go. And now for the top. Okay, this one we won't put on this yet. We will not put the super glue onto here yet, or the CA glue, until we can successfully determine that this solder arm has been successfully soldered. Okay, let's put the top shell on. Top shell again, work your way. Make sure that the snaps are equally locked, top and bottom. There we go. Okay. Put the snaps back on this side. Okay. Close this off. Leg right here. And now snaps this. Close this. Snap it all into place. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the screw back onto here. All right, so we're going to use the T4 and lock the bottom pivot to the arm. This arm again is still loose until we can determine that the repair is completed, so we don't have to open up the arm again. And this is a shell repair, arm sleeve repair. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and actually we're gonna replace the prop later. Let's go ahead and power this on. Power this drone on. Okay, we wanna make sure that it works. And what we're looking for when we turn it on, of course, lights and also a little twitching for the arm. See, there's some twitching right there. There we go. That works. And LED works on here. Okay. And there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and power on the drone to see if there's any issue, ESC issue at all. All right, let's go ahead and power on the drone. And this should determine if there's any ESC issue. If there's no issue at all, we can go ahead and put CA glue here to seal off, and then we have a complete repair. All right, let's wait till the power on. There we go, looking for error. Okay, remote ID error, not related to that. That's just a matter, okay? Looking at all the status. All right, so this is a successful repair. And let's go ahead and put a CA glue on here, and we're gonna test fly it after this. Okay, power this down. And now I'm gonna go ahead, knowing that works, I'm gonna put CA glue, and be very careful how I put the CA glue. I'm only putting it on the top right here, inside sleeve, because CA glue is very powerful. I only need this much. This will hold just fine. Set CA glue in, hold it for about 30 seconds. Okay, and that should fill all the void. You can actually feel the heat, the CA glue reacting already. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Now let's put all the screws back in to here. So we have 4 Phillips, 4 black Phillips screws right here. Let's go ahead and do it. So switch over this tool to a Phillips screw. And now let's go ahead and place the screw to lock in the shell again. Okay. There you go. Sorry, wrong one. This takes the longer one. There you go. Okay, let's go ahead and drop this in. Okay. Okay, now we are going to the front of this gimbal right here. Underneath the gimbal is the front shell. Let's go ahead and screw that in. There we go. Got one more left. Okay. All right, so again, let's go ahead and be very careful. Try to place the screw into here. like so. There we go. Sometimes if the magnet's not strong enough, I'm using this to actually assist in my magnet. Okay, a lot stronger now. Now I'm gonna go ahead, turn this in. There we go. Then let's go ahead and put the props back on. Okay. Okay. And caveat, how to tell whether you have a clockwise or counterclockwise prop? I'll show you a trick, okay? So these arms, you see right here, you notice this little swoosh right here, the little arc, and then you want to match it with this arc here. You see the arc here? Now you know that's the right arm. And I'll show you what the other one will look like after I finish putting this on, okay? Let's go ahead and tap this in. Put it on. All right. If you put it the wrong way, your drone will actually create negative lift, which means that it pushes the drone to the ground instead of sending it up. That's not what you want. Or it could flip over. So you want to make sure that when you do change props, I mean, I'm pretty sure the manual will tell you, but if you're not reading the manual like most people, then listen to this video for reference, how to replace the prop. Okay. So again, tighten it well. And you can see on this side, see the arm here? You can see there is nothing. See, that's the counterclockwise and clockwise. You see the clockwise one has it. And it matches the arm right there. But anyways, let's go ahead and test fly this drone before we give it back to the customer. Okay. So let's go ahead. We're going to test fly this. Power on the drone. Okay, controller. Let's go ahead and do a quick test flight, fly around the neighborhood to see if the motor heats up again or not. Okay. Wait till we get all signals. All right. Wait to get proper GPS signal. Okay, waiting to get stronger GPS. I'll do some video of this so I can share with you guys.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Let's go ahead and test it out. Complete check. Here we go. Launch it up. There we go. All right. Drone flies great. Let's go ahead and test out the flight capability of the drone. All right. Trying to get above the tree line here. Looking down the neighborhood. You see my house. Let's go ahead. Fly further around. A little bit higher. Try to get at least a couple minutes of flight time. You guys a tour around my neighborhood. This is Richmond, Virginia, in the last day of February. Okay, let's go ahead and fly back home. Go towards my yard. Okay, no no problems. Everything flies great. Speed handling is awesome. Land. All right, looks good. Let's go feel the motor. Okay, no overheating issue. Everything is great. Anyways, this is Prac with iRepairMD, and what you saw was a sleeve repair of a DJI Mini 3 Pro. Safe flying and safe repair.